to feature the new separatists, aka the Trade Federation, aka the Battle Droids, here in the Yavin Base Team League. So here in the third round of the league, the Battle Droids have been allowed as a faction, and we are going to be streaming a game here that is featuring TalkPolite, who is the organizer of the Invader League, and he's playing in the Team League though, not the Invader League. This is the Yavin Base Team League. But we got TalkPolite here versus DrRizzle. DrRizzle piloting the Empire and TalkPolite with the droids. So over here we have, I'm going to turn off some aspects of my interface to make this more visible for you guys. Let's get that top menu off the screen. Let's get those tools off the screen. Let's get those player names off the screen. We don't need any of that. Okay, so let's get to fighting. So let's see here. Let's do a quick discussion of the lists in play. So I'm going to start off with the more boring option. DrRizzle over here, the blue player, has 799 points, which is kind of funny. Normally that isn't that big a bid, but his opponent is at 800, so he did take blue. And he is running an Imperial Gunline list. We have here General Veers, very standard commander, has the ability to remove suppression from another friendly unit when he activates. He has Spotter 2 to allow him to give out aim tokens. He has Precise 1, allowing him to reroll 3 dice instead of just 2 when he spends an aim personally. Sharpshooter 1, reducing the target's cover a bit. His gun is not consistent, but it can do some damage at range 3 with 3 white dice, surge to crit, and pierce 1. Now, Veers is kind of a standard, kind of budget, but still effective commander, a step up from the generic officer, and pretty commonly seen in Imperial lists. He's been upgraded here with improvised orders, allowing more activation control for the Empire by giving them that second chance if they draw something they don't want. And he's actually also been upgraded with electro binoculars, which allow him to gain Spotter 1. This does stack up, so he actually now has Spotter 3 and can give out 3 aim tokens in a turn instead of 2. We'll see if this upgrade ends up paying off, or whether or not 3 aim tokens is going to be more than he knows what to do with, because they do have to be on separate units. We then see Bosk, the Trandoshan Terror, a bounty hunter who has the bounty ability, allowing you to get an extra victory point if you kill an enemy character specified before the game. He has in Rage 3, when you take 3 or more wound tokens, you gain Charge and Courage Dash. Expert Climber and Unhindered, allowing him to move through terrain quickly, and Regenerate 3, letting him regenerate his wounds. He has a pretty strong melee attack with 1 red die, 2 black dice, 1 white die, and Pierce 1. And he has a long-range weapon with 1 red, 4 white, Pierce 1, Suppressive, Surge to Crit. Bosk is a scary guy, very efficient in a straight shootout, even though if the opponent can get to grips with him, his defense isn't so good. He may have 7 wounds, but a white defense die with no surge is not so strong. So if someone can focus fire on Bosk before he regenerates, they can potentially take him out rather quickly. Bosk has been upgraded with Hunter, giving an extra aim token if you attack a wounded trooper. And Recon Intel, allowing him to do a Speed 1 move after deployment. We then see 6 squads of Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers with a white attack die with a surge and a red defense die. Precise 1, allowing them to get more of a benefit from aim tokens. There are 6 squads here, and they all have the DLT-19 Stormtrooper, very efficient heavy weapon, 2 red dice at range 1 to 4, plus Impact 1 to give you a little bit of extra punch against armored targets. Though armor is not present in this game, so that impact rule won't be doing anything. The 2 red dice at range 1 to 4 is still quite strong. 2 of the Stormtroopers have also been equipped with FX9 medical droids, allowing them to heal wounded characters or to bring back troopers that have been killed that turn. So all things considered, we see a list with a lot of Stormtroopers, a lot of DLT-19s, and some medics to keep their guys on the field. Additionally, there are 3 Scout Trooper strike teams. This unit only has 2 guys in it, the heavy weapon being the unit leader. They have low profile, getting heavy cover when they would normally have light. They have Sharpshooter 1, reducing their target's cover. They have a Scout move, and they're equipped with the DLT-19X Sniper, an unlimited range weapon, very powerful, 2 black dice, high velocity, Pierce 1. So There are 3 of these sniper teams and 6 stormtrooper squads, all with DLTs, 2 with medics, plus Veers and Bosk. That's the Imperial list, but let's take a swing over here and look at the more interesting side of things, shall we? Let's take a look at the much more interesting list being played here by our man TalkPolite. He is running the Droids. So a lot of people, I think, will not have actually seen the Droids in action before, and that's interesting. But the way that the Droids work is they have the worst troops in the game, but they come in large numbers, very large numbers indeed. And let's take a quick look here. Ben says, not that you're biased, LOL, much more interesting. Hey, look, people have seen a lot of games with stormtroopers. They've not seen that many games with battle droids. So let's check out those droids. Quick overview of the Trade Federation. Sorry about that, guys. Had to sneeze. Quick overview of the Trade Federation forces here. And we have General Grievous leading the charge. General Grievous starting off the review with a splash here. He is very powerful. General Grievous, Sinister Cyborg, 8 wounds with a red defense die and impervious. Arsenal 2, allowing him to attack with 2 different weapons. He has Block, which is a weaker version of Deflect. If you spend a dodge token while defending, you do gain the surge to block, but you don't bounce it back at the opponent. He has Impervious, as I mentioned earlier, making him more resilient to Pierce. He has Jedi Hunter. While attacking a unit that has a Force upgrade icon, you gain Surge to Crit. He has Relentless, allowing him to attack after he moves, and he has Scale, which is the thing that allows it combines the ability to move through terrain and climb without being hurt, or clamber without being hurt, rather, with free clamber actions before or after you move. So Grievous can, for instance, move to tag a wall and then clamber up to it with one of his actions, then with the next action, move to the other side of the building and clamber down on the other side. This allows him to do things that are somewhat similar to jump. In rare cases, it's actually better than jump, but normally it's like jump, but a little bit worse. Grievous is a very powerful character. His weakness is his low courage value of 2, but if TalkPolite can prevent his Grievous from being suppressed off the board, or forced to panic even if he doesn't run off the board, he will do a lot of damage with his trophy lightsabers, each of which is 1 red, 2 black, 1 white, with impact and pierce 1, and he can attack with both of them in the same turn for a terrifying dice pool of 2 red, 4 black, 2 white, impact 2, pierce 2. Grievous has been equipped with Aggressive Tactics. This is a very strong new card. While you're the nominated commander, after issuing orders, choose up to 4 friendly units with face-up order tokens. Each chosen unit gains a Surge token. This is a very, very strong ability. This ability allows you to give out Surge tokens to usually 4 units per turn because of how many units typically receive face-up order tokens in these droid armies. Strict Orders, this is one we've seen before. When a friendly trooper unit with a face-up order token activates during its rally step, it may remove 1 suppression token instead of rolling dice. Also quite strong due to the large number of units that will be activated by the droids most of the time. He has the DT-57 Annihilator, which is a pistol with 2 black, 2 white. It can be fired in melee or at range 1 to 2. It has Critical 1, Pierce 1, and Versatile, allowing it to shoot while you're engaged. So Grievous can be in combat with one squad, hitting them with one of his lightsabers while he shoots his pistol at another squad. Pretty frightening as a character. Lastly, he has Tenacity. If he's wounded, he can add a red defense die to his melee attacks. That's going to beef him up that little bit more when he's in melee and make him truly a terror. We then see 6 units of B1 battle droids, so they've been equipped with slightly different upgrades. So 4 of the units are B1 battle droids, so these guys come in high numbers. They have the worst stats of any basic troop. They have 1 wound and 1 courage like everyone else, but they have a white defense die, a white attack die in both ranged and melee combat, and no surges at all. So they have inferior attacks to stormtroopers even, and inferior defenses to rebel troopers even, but you get 6 guys of them in the base squad instead of 4. They have AI attack. If you don't have a face-up order token, their first action must be an attack if able, but they also have coordinate droid trooper. After you're issued an order, you may issue an order to a friendly droid trooper unit at range 1. So that can be used to essentially make it so that they have more activation control by chaining activations between these units. Now, for all 6 of these have been given the extra B1 battle droid, who costs a mere 6 points. Nice little upgrade, add an extra body to the squad. These aren't typically seen, these personnel upgrades aren't typically seen on the Rebels or Imperials, but for droids, since they're so cheap, it can be quite effective. 4 of the squads have been equipped with E5 CB1 troopers. This is a gun that I believe actually originates in the video game Star Wars Battlefront 2. Or at the very least, that was the first, I believe that was the first time it was named. This is similar to the normal droid rifle, but like essentially a squad machine gun version of it, and it's a little more effective. In this case, we're seeing we're seeing it roll 3 black dice at range 1 to 3. So one of these squads will have 3 black dice and 7 white dice at range 1 to 3. Quite similar to a Rebel Trooper squad with a Z6, but a little bit worse. Okay. So that is the E5C. 2 of the squads have instead been equipped with the E60R rocket launcher. So that's a weapon with 2 black dice and a red die at range 2 to 4. It has impact 2, giving it some punch against armor, and it does, however, exhaust after being fired. The units that have been equipped with the E60R have also been equipped with HQ uplinks, which means that they can exhaust this upgrade to issue an order to themselves. That can help you get that coordinate chain going even when you have comparatively few orders to issue. And to make things better, if you're recovering your rocket launcher, it recovers the HQ uplink at the same time, so kind of a natural synergy between those 2 upgrades. Lastly, we have 2 units of Droidicas. This is another unit that is comparatively not understood because it's so new. These guys have only 3 wounds each, so they're kind of similar to speeder bikes, and they have 4, but they have shielded 4 and generator 1. So they have 4 shield tokens, which you can use to get automatic blocks, and generator 1, allowing them to regenerate 1 shield every turn. So these guys may look like they only have 6 health, but with those 4 shields to get through first, they basically have 10 health. Additionally, because you're flipping those shield tokens back, if you don't focus them down quickly, they can regenerate some of the damage that's been dealt to them. So these guys are very frightening indeed. They can turn into a wheel and move at speed 3. If they do until the end of the round, they gain cover 2 and cannot attack or flip active shield tokens. They have 1 red, 2 black at range 1 to 3 with suppressive fixed front and immune to deflect. And they do have AI like the other droid units, but they have AI attack or move, so you can choose which one to do, either attacking or moving. That is a downside for them, though, because if they don't have a token, you cannot order them to aim and then shoot. You have to shoot first and then maybe move or dodge or something, which is a little less optimal. However, if you do have an order, they can be very powerful, and more so with these linked targeting arrays, granting them target 1. After you are issued an order, gain 1 aim token. So that's going to be the droid army in review here, and it's going to be quite intriguing. So that's what we have. That's what we have there for the droids, and we're going to be on this first turn. I haven't been commenting all these moves because they are mostly just moving up into position. The scenario for this game, we do have hostile environment, making it more difficult to remove suppression. We have major offensive, which is the deployment that's kind of L-shaped, but not the one that uses the full short edges like advanced positions. And we have sabotage the moisture evaporators. So the moisture evaporators are here and here. And we're seeing here, this might be the first shot of the game, a droid sniper fires at, or an Imperial sniper fires at these battle droids, gets 1 hit, doesn't make the reroll, and I do think they have heavy cover thanks to this barricade, so it will be just a suppression. Now, it's important to note that these droids play with suppression a little differently than some of the other units in the game. The 2 main differences are, number 1, the droids, instead of having extra cover when they're suppressed, don't get any benefit from that at all. But in exchange, they ignore the negative effect of suppression tokens unless they panic. So this unit that has 1 suppression token is they cannot panic, and they're immune to suppression. So even if they don't rally that, they will be able to take 2 actions. So it's kind of both ups and downs. You know, if you're relying on light cover plus suppression to get heavy cover, then the droids are going to be a little bit less the thing that you want necessarily. But in situations where you're in heavy cover and the enemy's trying to suppress you, the droids are going to be doing a lot better because they don't. There's no benefit the opponent gains from suppressing them unless they actually panic. So we're seeing here the droids moving in very aggressively, and the center of the map is just filled with battle droids. An interesting downside to these droid squads is because you have so many guys in the units, it can actually be difficult. It can actually be difficult for them to. It can actually be difficult for them to get all behind cover. Now we're seeing a pot shot taken here with a rocket launcher against Bosk. So the rocket launcher fires and gets a crit, so Bosk will have to take a save. Yeah, so this droid rocket launcher taking a shot at Bosk. Bosk rolls his save and fails. That will be the first wound of the game dealt to Bosk, though of course it is possible he will regenerate it. Alright, so that was droid unit number 6 here, firing their E-60R rocket launcher. And next turn, they'll probably use their HQ uplink, transmit a bunch of orders, then first action recover and potentially shoot. We'll have to see. There are a lot of battle droids in this arena, and this is looking a little frightening just in terms of sheer numbers. You know, most armies in this game are probably going to be, I don't know, you know, a tournament army, you might have something like 30 to 40 guys in this game normally. You know, you might have like 30 core troops plus some snipers plus some characters. Maybe you put some medics in there. You get to about 40 total models. These battle droids have 6 8-man squads. They have 48 guys just from their troop section. So the number of models in this is huge. You know, this Imperial army is by no means a small army. He has maximum basic troopers, 3 sniper teams, 2 characters. But, you know, maximum basic... or he doesn't have totally maximum basic troopers, but he has 6 squads with heavy weapons, 2 medics, 3 snipers. You know, he's got 8 models between the... he's got 8 models between the snipers and characters, plus he's got the 32 models from the troops, so he's at 40. But these droids are... yeah, and 40 models is kind of a lot sometimes, especially for the Empire, who are a little more expensive. But these droids have him beaten by a large amount with 48 models just from the core units, plus the 4 Decas, plus Grievous. They are at 54, and several of those models are things like the Droidicas or Grievous, which have quite a lot of wounds. Alright, so we're seeing these units moving up. These Droidicas turned into wheel mode and moved forward. Tabletop Simulator doesn't, I think, have a model for a droid in wheel mode. He's debating his options here. He doesn't want to get too close. Bosk hasn't activated yet. Now, one thing is, interestingly, even though the droids are a huge horde, their actual number of activations is lower because they have more models, but they're in the same units. So we have 9 activations versus 11. The Empire does have more activations. We're going to see what looks like a pivot and then move from these Droidicas. Or do they have reposition? They don't have reposition. So yeah, I think that was a pivot and then move from these Droidicas. And I can't say I really like that, actually. I think they're not in a great position here, because if they move forward, they'll displace these guys. Basically, the only thing they're equipped to do is to like swing up here and then shoot like a small amount. These standby tokens aren't real standbys. That represents that they're in wheel mode. Now, interestingly, he went to wheel mode but then didn't move all that far. He could have moved further, but I think he's trying to play it conservative in this situation. I do think sending them up this flank might have been a mistake because these guys could swing down there and attack, so that might have been unsafe to do, but I'm not altogether sure what they're doing here. I think the droid game plan here is going to be to do their own objectives and then focus a huge attack on this objective here. Given that the one on in the home area is going to be a lot harder to reach than the one in this jungle. The jungle is difficult terrain for troopers, and the trees are impassable for vehicles, which does mean that the Droidicas might have some trouble moving into the jungle. But this objective is going to be the one that's going to be a lot easier for them to engage with. Now we're seeing a scout trooper sniper team engaging. heavy cover, but they do manage to get both hits, and that's going to be another droid picked off. We've seen 2 droids now picked off by snipers. 2 droids picked off by snipers, and 1 wound on Bosk is going to be, I think, the entirety of the damage inflicted. Oh, but Bosk himself can still shoot, so we could see some damage from him. Okay, so we're gonna zoom in here, showing off the Droideka models. They are pretty sweet, even though they don't have a wheel mode. And I'm gonna highlight their unit card again here. They are the most unusual unit in the game right now, maybe. They have AI attack and move. They have generator 1, shielded 4, wheel mode, the dual twin blaster cannons, where if you combine both Droidekas, you get 2 red dice, 4 black dice, suppressive, fixed front, immune to deflect. These guys can be very annoying indeed with those suppressive cannons and with all those shields making them quite resilient. We're seeing General Grievous move up here. Now the question is he going to use scale? I would maybe move him up to here so he can scale up next turn and then run through this jungle, but I don't know how aggressive he wants to be with him. So we're seeing here him moving over this barricade at full speed. Scale includes unhindered and expert climber, so Grievous can move over terrain very quickly, which makes sense if you see him in the movie with that kind of, I don't know how you would describe it, but he sort of turns into a like 4-legged animal and like skitters across the ground with that movement style, and that is in this game, allowing him to traverse terrain. Scuttle, that's the word. One of my friends suggested that. Yeah, he kind of scuttles across there. So we are seeing, it looks like he's reevaluated his decision to scuttle across that barricade, though, and we're actually going to see him going up this other side instead. Now, he does have to be careful that he's still in range to give his courage to his troopers, because these battle droids can panic. So it looks like Grievous is going to try to kind of use this area that the Droidekas were not. He could scuttle up to here, move, then move again, be pretty close, and maybe shoot his pistol at those guys in the next turn. But this turn, he's going to stay a little more conservative. Yeah, and here he comes. Alright, so it looks like Bosk cannot see him hiding behind there. You know, maybe Bosk can run over there, but I'm not sure he'll have a shot. I don't know. He could maybe see like part of one of his hands or something. I would maybe move Grievous a little bit further back. Or it looks like he's rotating him to try to get a better angle. That's also a good idea. Yeah. Now, the interesting thing is the model for Grievous in this mod is Grievous with all 4 sabers. Grievous has actually a lot of ways that he can be assembled. You can do him with 2 sabers out. You can do him with a saber and a gun. He has a cloak you can put on instead of the top arms. It's going to be pretty interesting in terms of how people assemble him. There is, I think, a slight benefit in terms of line of sight to not doing the 4 sabers configuration, because having 4 arms and sabers to shoot at is probably going to make you more visible than just doing the cloak instead of the extra arms up top. But in defense of the 4 saber configuration, it looks extremely cool. And that means a lot. So I do think we're going to see a lot of Grievouses with the all 4 sabers out, even if it's not necessarily the most optimal thing in terms of making you hard to shoot at. Okay, so we're now going to see the Bosk activation. Let's see if he can rally his 1 suppression. It doesn't matter because he does have courage 2. He doesn't rally, but he's okay. Now he is in range of a lot of droids here. We could just see an aim and shoot. Or we could see a shoot and then move, which to me seems maybe more plausible. If Bosk just fires here, just aims and shoots here, he's going to be able to be caught in the open in the next turn. So I think that's really not what he wants to, not really what he wants to do. Looks like he's starting with a shot on these droids. These droids have been shot by the snipers and already have 2 suppression on them. So this barrage is going to put another 2 suppression if he can roll even 1 hit, since Bosk's weapon is suppressive, which does mean these droids might start being at risk of panicking, thanks to all the suppression that's being piled on them. So Bosk has 4 white and a red with surge to crit. Does look like the target is in heavy cover, thanks to this bunker. And he rolls it and gets 1 surge, which turns into a crit, and with Pierce he takes down a droid. Not that the droid would likely have passed its save anyway, as these things only save 1/6 of the time. So another Another one droid killed. Now we're probably going to see a move, and then after the move, we're probably going to see the regeneration roll, seeing whether or not we can heal up the wound that was inflicted by those droids with their rocket launcher. So Boss getting a little bit of revenge, taking down a droid, and now doing some maneuvers. Screwtape in the chat says 6 points dead. Yeah, the benefit of these sniper shots and Bosk pierces and stuff is a lot less with these droids than it would be if he was shooting at a more elite force. If you're shooting at like snowtroopers or shore troopers, some of those more expensive units, rebel veterans, that shot might have killed a 12 or 13 point model, but against these B1 battle droids, it killed a 6 point model. So it's, in terms of what you're getting on points killed, it's half as effective as it would have been against a more elite force. So droids are actually pretty resilient to snipers, not because it's hard for the snipers to kill them, it's easy, but because losing a battle droid is much less valuable than losing a model from another unit that would be picked off by a sniper. Okay, so now we're seeing a medical unit being used here. Bosk incidentally did not regenerate. The medic could be used on Bosk to heal him, but honestly that's a bit of a frivolous use of a medic. Looks like this squad is going to move to there, and then they're moving up. They're gonna slow down to move into that difficult terrain jungle, but that also means that they can get onto the evaporator. They're not using it this turn, but they're in a position to use it next turn. Now the jungle is light cover for these guys, which does mean they'll get some protection, but honestly I'm a little afraid for these squads since there's a lot of droids over here that could come marching in. I don't think they're going to be in range immediately, but at least the front units might be able to engage them. The droid blob here is pretty scary. Sniper shots or no sniper shots to try to pick some of them off. Okay, so I think we have 1 or 2 more units left. I think the droids have finished activating completely, and we're going to have 1 or 2 Republic units left to go. Probably just the one gray troopers here, the other medical unit also not being used. Yeah, he's saying it's not going to be used on Bosk yet for the first unit, so now the second, or maybe they already went and it's the white unit that hasn't gone? Okay, it sounds like that's the case. Or maybe, no, actually not, just kidding. Alright, so it's going to be these gray guys activating. We could see them move over here. It actually looks like they're going to pull back. I think he's afraid of the droid blob. He's going to try to kind of like set up a gun line. He can pick at the droids at long range with his DLT-19 heavy weapons. With 2 red dice, normally that's not so good as a pot shot, but if he can catch the droids in the open, maybe in this kind of, this area here where there's a bit of an open gap, then maybe he can do some damage if they're coming through this alleyway to attack his objective. And he can catch them in the open, those DLTs will do some damage. But as we can see here, the Imperials are playing very conservatively, kind of falling back, and it looks like they're going to pick at those Droidicas with a pot shot. I actually don't think he can see. Also, this attack is extremely bad because even if he can see, he'll do like 1 wound. And if he does do 1 wound... Okay, so it looks like he's decided not to do that. This attack was near pointless because the Droidicas would have heavy cover, which would mean that the 2 red dice would likely do nothing. Even if he got a crit, they could just take it on their shields. And because Droidicas have this Generator 1 ability that allows them to flip an inactive shield token... Oh, you know what? Generator is not active when you're a wheel. His shields aren't on, so it might be good. It might be good. But he chose not to do it, so... Very conservative play here from the Empire, backing up, trying to stay out of a head-to-head shootout with all these battle droids, and honestly, I can't blame them. The battle droids are some of the most efficient units on paper with their, each of them might be bad, but you get a lot of them. Their main downside being that you have to maintain that good activation control or you could be in trouble. Their secondary downside being that they are pretty inconsistent, at least in terms of offense. On defense, they're quite consistent in a bad way. They will pretty consistently fail their saves on defense. But, you know, the same could be said of other units like Wookiees or AT-RTs. Wookiees, of course, have more than one wound each, so they're not going to die in droves like battle droids do, but they have the same white defense die with no surge, where it's a 1 in 6 chance, and if you do make a save, you honestly feel like you've gotten lucky. Okay. We see command cards coming out here. Let's see what happens. We're going to see Crush Them. This is General Grievous in 2 units. When General Grievous issues an order to a unit, that unit gains 1 surge token for each defeated enemy unit. It's a very interesting play. He hasn't defeated any enemy units, so he's not going to give out any surge tokens. But I think he's actually playing it just for the activation control. He's going to pop his other HQ uplink and use that to activate all of his B1 battle droids by chaining Coordinate. So Coordinate Droid Trooper, after you're issued an order, you may issue an order to a friendly Droid Trooper unit at range 1. So because his B1s are in this big blob and clustered up, as you can see, he's used the HQ uplink to give one of them an order, then it uses Coordinate, then that uses Coordinate, then that uses Coordinate, then that uses Coordinate, and now you have 6 B1 units, all with face-up order tokens. So he managed to activate his entire army. And he's giving a surge token to Grievous, a surge token to the Decas, a surge token to those Decas, and he'll probably use a surge token on that squad. Additionally, the Decas will each get a free aim token because they have those linked targeting arrays. Now, I do think this was slightly erroneous. I would have preferred to start with standing orders and not give tokens to the Decas because they won't be in range to shoot on the first turn anyway. So giving them the aim token with linked targeting doesn't matter. You give the 1 token from standing orders to Grievous, and then you use the then you can use your HQ uplinks to give tokens to all the B1s, so your stack is only Decas. And then if you use that strategy, what you can end up doing is putting the Decas, drawing the Decas from the stack when you want to activate them. You still have perfect activation control. You miss the linked targeting array, but it doesn't matter that much. And then he would still have his assault to play when he wants to do this at a later time. But honestly, droids don't have to worry so much about activation control. You know, you could do a 2-pip and give 1 order to each Deca, pop the HQ uplinks for all of those. Only thing in the stack is Grievous. Draw him when you want. They have a lot of options. Okay, so we're seeing a continuation of the super conservative play here from the Imperials. This unit is going to sabotage the Vaporator and then immediately pull back. So we're seeing it almost seems like they're falling back to their board edge here, just trying to create a gun line where they can make the best use of their slightly better range, get their snipers firing, and do as much damage to these droids on the way in as possible. The problem I see with that is it seems very possible these droids can just take this very strong barricaded position, which I think is in range of some of this stuff, though I'm not certain, and then be in a position of heavy cover while a lot of the Imperials are left in the open and kind of in the lurch against the droid gun line. I don't know for certain if that's how this is going to play out, but it might. Looks like this Deca is seeing if it can get in range, and it can get in range, but it's not in the fire arc. So it's in range of those guys, but it doesn't have the fire arc to them. These guys, having pulled back, did manage to dodge the bullet, so to speak. They will not be in range. So these Decas are actually in a bit of a tight spot, simply because they aren't going to get a shot this turn. They only have range 3, so he's kind of deciding what to do. Does he want to like move forward and potentially get lit up by a bunch of DLTs and stuff, or does he want to, you know, keep in his conservative position? I think he's going to have to. That's interesting. He's reversing. Oh ho ho! That crafty guy. He's seeing if he can reverse into a position where he can get the fire arc. He wasn't able to get it on that side, but if he reverses, he might be able to get it on this side and engage that unit that's currently on the point. Can he do it? Oh, he's just out of range, and he does. It looks like he doesn't have the fire arc either, actually. He moves too far back before he starts turning for this one to work out. Yeah, so now he has the range, but he doesn't have the arc yet again. It is safer than the other option in terms of his positioning. But it's not going to be something that's going to work out for him. So these Decas are left in a position where they probably won't be able to get a good shot this turn. Kevnobi arrives to cheer for LJ. Kevnobi is another player who is on LJ's team for this league. This is the Yavin Base Team League. So there's teams of 5, best 3 out of 5. The teams are matched up, and this team is in fact undefeated thus far. Okay, so the Droids do a little bit of movement, coming part of the way around the corner, and then they're going to take a dodge. So next turn they should be able to move up to about there. I don't know if they're still going to be in range, though, if these Imperials keep retreating. He might need to make a more aggressive move to actually catch the Imperials. This is a little interesting. But the Imperial gunline here has created a situation where if he does use the wheel mode to move up more aggressively, he'll suddenly be in a lot of danger because many units will be able to fire at him even from these back positions. And with your shields down when you're in wheel mode, it might not be worth the risk. So the sniper here activating and firing again at those same battle droids that have been taking some sniper shots earlier. Aim and shoot, and it gets only 1 hit, so that's going to be nothing, but he spends the aim into another hit, so that's going to be 1 battle droid taken down as they do ignore 1 point of cover. These battle droids are slowly getting sniped off the field. They do have 4 suppressions. He's going to activate them, and he'll use strict orders to remove 1 suppression automatically, which will mean that they are at suppression 3. This would normally mean they're suppressed, but they're in range of Grievous, so no effect. Yeah. So this unit is going to move to the objective. He's going to hide his other models behind here, or at least some of them. And then I think we're going to see his next action simply being to do this objective. So these battle droids have taken some losses from the snipers, but because they're just moving to be a repair element fixing up this point, that's going to be fine. So, yep, so there we see them moving and repairing to repair this moisture evaporator as per the mission objective. The red player will gain 2 victory tokens at the end of the mission for each objective token with fewer than 2 wounds, -1 for each wound token on them. That's an elaborate way to say these 4 evaporators, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 on the edge here. Each of them starts out with 2 wounds. The blue player wants to add wounds. The red player wants to remove them. The blue player can add wounds up to 4. His guys are sabotaging them. The red player can remove wounds down to 0, and you each get a point, basically, for each wound that is removed or added in the relevant way. Yeah, so these droids can often have perfect or near perfect activation control. That's one of their main strengths. You don't have to worry about your stuff coming out in the wrong order at all. On the Imperial side of things, we see this improvised orders upgrade taken to allow him to repick if he draws something that he doesn't want. But the droids are like, whatever, man, I don't need to repick stuff. I can do whatever I want all the time. It's a strong advantage. But the downside is if you get disrupted, let's say your HQ uplink units got killed, so you can no longer activate all your droids, or you've exhausted both of them and haven't recovered any, or some scenario like that. If you do find yourself in that scenario and you have to use your AI actions, you end up acting a lot less efficiently than you would in normal circumstances. So the way the droids coordinate between each other is both upside and downside. That's the interesting dynamics of the droids. Screwtape777 says, I think I would have rolled that. What was it that you would... Oh, you would have rolled the recovery? Yeah, so the... Ooh. So this is maximum firepower versus heavy bombardment with 4 red dice, and it's firing on Grievous. All 4 hit. So 3 hits on Grievous. He's going to have to take some saves. He does have a surge token, but that heavy bombardment comes in on him. Ouch! He fails all 3. He's going to spend his surge token, of course, to block 1 of them and only take 2 wounds. So that heavy bombardment from Grievous... Definitely not removed. But that heavy bombardment from Veers' command card against Grievous, 4 red dice, range 4 to infinity, impact 2, immune to deflect. It is going to add a 2 wounds to Grievous and a suppression, so he is going to take some heat there. He is going to take some heat. Maybe a little too aggressive with Grievous, not quite sure. So Grievous still does, of course, have 6 wounds. He is a big, tough guy, but that was a good start there from the maximum firepower. On average, he should have only taken 1 wound from that attack rather than 2. Oh, looks like those guys are in range of these front battle droids, so I think we're going to see the Trade Federation start trying to do some damage in revenge for the damage put on their commander. I don't know how many battle droid units will be in range. I think it's only going to be Actually, these other ones will probably also be in range if he leaves space. But honestly, leaving space is quite a challenge. Oh, but he's that crafty guy. TalkPolite's an experienced player. As you can see, he measured range from that guy to figure out how far he could move up. And he's using that measurement to try to make sure he can get his other guy in range. I would move this guy a little bit. I'm not entirely sure he has it, but here we go. Everybody can see at least. I don't know if these two guys over here can actually see. I'm gonna ask. I guess they assumed that they were. Wow! What a roll! 4 crits. 4 crits and a hit. So those 4 crits. Oh, okay. So he's moving. He's moving some of these guys a little bit to make it so they can see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about this guy. I don't know. Maybe he has it. It's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, it sounds like they're fine with it. Okay. So, wow, 4 crits. So 4 saves that need to be taken for these troopers. Let's see if they can get some good rolls. All 4 saves made. What luck. Man, both players getting really lucky. 4 crits is crazy, but all 4 saves on a 50% save. Both players lucking out on that one. That's wild. That does mean there's going to be some suppression on these guys, though, and unlike the droids, they do actually care about being suppressed. They are going to activate, and they're probably going to see if they rally. If they do rally, their choice is clear. They want to fix the thing and then either shoot or fall back, but they don't, so they have to choose. Do they want to shoot? Do they want to repair? Do they want to fall back? What is their choice? A difficult puzzle for these troopers. Bucket of Dice in the chat says, I don't like that aggressive Grievous play. Feels like he's going to get kited. Do you think the Roly boys are coming up to help? Die, meat bags. So definitely a droid sympathizer here, I believe. It looks like their one action is actually going to be to sabotage the objective. So the aim token that was given to them by Veers is going to be wasted because the suppression meant they didn't get a chance to attack. That is one of the upsides of playing as the droids. Because these guys are not droids, they got affected by suppression, which the droids can ignore. Looks like this squad isn't actually quite going to be in range in order to take another shot. They're off by just an inch or so. Yeah, they can't quite get it. There's not going to be another shot at that squad, so we probably will see these guys just move up again and take cover behind that crate. That's probably what I would do, just try to... Looks like he's trying to finagle it to see if he can get any little extra bit, but it looks like he's also decided that he can't, so we are seeing them move up again. The little gap here rapidly filling with battle droids. Ironically, the very large number of models in these battle droid squads, while an upside in terms of your defense, can be a downside in terms of making the best use of terrain. As we can see here, the sheer number of the droids is enough that a lot of the space here is actually being blocked, and there's a limit to how many units can move through this gap. Whereas units, between his 2 battle droid squads here, that's 16 guys. So 2 battle droid squads are taking up more space than would be taken by 3 of these stormtrooper squads. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay. Pot shot at the Droidicas, bounces off cover, no effect. That was a DLT pot shot from this squad over here. They moved to take cover behind this barricade. So we are seeing the Imperials kind of trying to kite the Trade Federation or Separatist forces here. So this squad, not being in range, is going to decide to come around this way so that they avoid blocking all their comrades behind them. So another droid unit marching forward, the march of the battle droids. A few droids have been picked off. Four of them have been picked off. Normally in Legion, a squad is only going to be like 4 or 5 guys for a lot of these units. Maybe 6 on some. And so losing 4 guys is often your heavy weapon is out and your squad is no longer that relevant. Losing 4 droids is only half the guys, and the squad that lost 4 is still doing this objective, still very much in the game. Yeah, so then we're seeing them move over here. I think we're going to see this orange squad move into this gap, chain backwards to make sure they're still within range 1 of these, and then these guys will do the objective and recover so they can use their HQ uplink next turn and keep up that activation control, though I could be wrong. Now here's one of the downsides. These Droidicas are blocked. They don't have space to move through all these other guys. It is allowed to move through in this situation, but if you move through your own guys, you displace them, which suppresses them and allows your opponent to reposition. So these droids' best option might be to go into wheel mode and do like a long move around this way. I think that the Droidica placement has not actually been great because this unit is really not in the fight. I would have preferred to see them swing down here and join Grievous in that attack. And we could still see something like that. You know, we could see them go into wheel mode, reverse, and then move over there to be in a position to move up and attack next turn. But I do think these guys moving over here was kind of the wrong decision. And I think they're going to be delayed in getting into the fight as a result. Okay. Bucket of Dice suggests that the red squad clamber onto the box next turn, assuming he's touching it. They're not quite touching it. I think it's more likely they'll move up and use sideways cohesion to have guys behind the barricade. I think clambering with droids is actually kind of risky because you have to roll a white die for every guy in your squad, and any result of a block is a dead guy. And because the droids have so many models, you know, on average you lose more than one. On the other hand, though, they are droids, so you don't really care about losing them, quite frankly. This is interesting. I think he's making a bit of a mistake here, actually. I think he's making a bit of a mistake here because he needs to make sure... I would move a little less far up. Oh, I think he sees it. He needs to make sure that he's still at range 1 to that unit. That's the thing. He needs to make sure he's still at range 1 to that unit so that he can use his... Yeah, and it looks like that's what he's doing now. He's doing some measurements here. He needs to be a little bit further back. He needs to make sure that he's still at range 1 to these guys so that he can use their coordinate chain next turn. Because these guys are going to want to recover... They're going to want to recover their HQ uplink and then sabotage this objective. And so then next turn they can HQ uplink, coordinate up to here, coordinate to there, coordinate to there, coordinate to there, coordinate to there, activating all the B1 battle droids off that HQ uplink activation yet again. And we are seeing some good play there. You know, if he had moved up more aggressively like it looked like he initially thought of, he would be at risk of outrunning his HQ uplink and making it more difficult to get that coordinate chain going, which could lead to him either having to spend an order on his core units, which you want to avoid. He wants to give orders to Grievous and to Decas, or it might instead lead to him having to use AI actions with those droids, which are a lot less effective than being able to use the actions in the way that you want. Droid Sniper engaging. Or, not droid sniper, Imperial sniper engaging droids, rather. It looks like he's firing on the orange squad, which I believe was the one that fired on those troopers. They do have heavy cover, thanks to some of them being behind this barricade, so he's doing a good job of keeping his guys in at least some cover, even though he's moving through this gap. Sniper gets one hit and the reroll fails, so that will be merely a suppression. This is the other reason that snipers are bad against the Separatists. If you get this suppression on... If you don't kill the target, but you get a suppression on them with snipers, it normally puts suppression on them, which makes them less effective. But if you suppress a droid unit, they don't care. They just keep walking through it. So the snipers, not only their damage is reduced, but also the impact of non-damaging hits or damaging hits that inflict suppression is greatly reduced. These droids really don't have to be as worried about snipers as much. Bucket of Dice says, what sort of cover options are the imps going to have if the droids swarm that big triple barricade? Quite frankly, I think the answer is not a lot. A lot of these Imperials are kind of trapped in an open field here if the droids end up behind this barricade. He does have this barricade. He could maybe get some guys back there to get another squad in cover with the rocks, firing at kind of the side of that. And he could use the forest for light cover, or these fallen tree trunks for light cover. But overall, he could be in a lot of trouble. The tide pool is impossible to troopers and no cover, so that's not a good position. Overall, this is not a situation that these troopers really want to be in, I feel. There's a nice Scarif-themed board, by the way. Battle of Scarif, very aesthetic, in my opinion. And we're seeing, though of course the Battle of Scarif was not fought between Imperials and the Separatists. Okay. Let's see what's happening next. Droidic is activating. Ooh. Yeah, he's doing it. This is the move that I thought he might make. So, by the way, these guys did activate and they did repair and recover, getting that HQ uplink up. Yep. And like I had predicted, he is going to be forced to... Man, he's not in a very optimal position. He has been forced here to reverse and then move forward in order to try to get back into this area, which he had neglected. It might actually be better to do a speed 2 instead of a speed 3 move here so he can get a better angle of attack. Yeah, I think that might be better. Yeah, so it looks like he realized his mistake with blocking the Decas over here, and he has moved back, but I don't think they're going to be able to engage next turn unless the Empire starts attacking. We could see the Empire move troops in this direction to try to overwhelm Grievous, but unless they do that, I don't think these Decas are going to be in range, because they would take a speed 1 move, be it about there, and maybe they're in range over here? I don't know. I don't think they're going to be that effective right now, which does show the importance of placement on these Decas. I do think if they had moved up and they were around here a little bit behind where Grievous is, then that would be a much better situation. He could delay activating them and then walk out firing, maybe getting some suppression over there. But in any case, it is what it is, and we're probably going to see them engaging on turn 3 or 4 instead of on turn 2. Sniper engaging another battle droid unit here. We do get the 2 hits, so that will be a battle droid picked off. Oh, it was the wrong sniper unit was clicked on there, but it doesn't matter. They have heavy cover from all of them. Yeah, it matters a little bit because it's what models can be killed. We do see one more battle droid being picked off by the Imperial snipers. It's kind of funny here. The Imperials are just sort of, they're falling back almost to their board edge. Their backs are to the wall, and they're trying to deny the droids shots and get as many shots against the droids as possible. And so we have seen some damage being inflicted. At this point, the casualties are adding up a bit. There's 5 droids down here and 2 wounds on Grievous. Grievous activating, and he's kind of deciding how aggressive he wants to be. He's in a risky position here. If he attacks aggressively, Bosk can still shoot at him and put a suppression on there. That could be pretty harsh for him. He doesn't want to charge in too aggressively. At the same time, if he allows those Imperials more time to move back, I don't know what Grievous is going to do at all. Now, one thing he could do is he could do the old hit and hide. I believe if he runs forward, he could use Relentless to shoot his pistol at those guys and then use his next move to duck back, which would allow him to do some damage without taking much in return. Grievous does have 1 suppression, which he probably wants to remove. He could keep it for cover, but I think he wants to remove it with strict orders. I think he forgot. Oh, okay, so he's mulling over what he wants to do. Okay, so he's not using strict orders. He's going to roll, which means that he would prefer to have the suppression. Okay, so it looks like he might be doing it. He's moving up, and he's going to fire his pistol at those squads. Free shot, 2 black, 2 white. They will have light cover plus a suppression. Yeah, light cover plus a suppression for heavy cover. Oh, and he's using scale. He's using his scale ability to clamber up onto this thing first. So he is Grievous firing from up top. That doesn't give any advantage, but it sure looks cooler, and he will have cover from this if shots come in on him. He has critical 1. He only gets 1 hit, so no crits getting in. Will give another suppression to the squad, though, and he does have another action. We could see that be a dodge. We could see that be another move. He could just duck back to where he was earlier. Not sure if he's gonna... I don't know. There's not that much left to shoot at him, but there is Bosk. Oh, man. Oh, he's getting bold. He's getting bold. He's going to move again up top. I think he's going to move to this edge and be in a position to scuttle down here next turn and maybe give a lot of trouble to those Imperial troopers. Hard to say exactly what he's going for, but I do think he's going to be doing that instead of taking a dodge token. which would be the more conservative and defensive option. Okay, he's... No, this is silly. This is objectively bad. So he should not move down here. He should not move down here. There is no upside to moving down here. So the way that scale works is that and also no disrespect. TalkPolite, if you're watching this stream, no disrespect. Scale lets you take a free clamber at the beginning or the end of your move. So in this case, he's used it at the end of his move to move down. The problem is if he's on top of the cliff, he has heavy cover. If he's down here, he only has light cover through this jungle. And so if he had stayed on the top, he would have heavy cover instead of light. And then he would be able to, on his next move, scale down at the start for free. So there's no upside to doing this. It's only putting him in worse cover. Ouch! And a lucky roll coming out for Bosk is going to mean that that's going to cost him, because he's going to take an extra hit from that he could have avoided. Using scale there does mean he's going to have to roll 4 saves instead of 3 saves, because he only had light instead of heavy cover. However, one of these is an impervious roll. Weak saves for Grievous again, only blocking 1, and it gets pierced. So that's going to be 3 more wounds on Grievous. He's taking heavy damage. That is... I don't know. That was a very aggressive play. He could have avoided one of those by using scale more properly. It might have also been a good idea to just dodge. If he spends the dodge, he not only can spend it to block, but he also gains the surge. So if he spent a dodge up top, he would have heavy cover plus a dodge, so only the crit would get in. And then he would have surge to block enabled to roll 2 saves, and if he gets both, he blocks it, which you have about a 50-50 on. So very aggressive play from Grievous, ends up getting punished by a lucky roll here from Bosk. Bosk is going to not regenerate his wound. So lots of damage there on Grievous. Lots of damage. Bucket of Dice was wondering if he has a suppression for heavy cover. He didn't, because he rolled it off. You do have to roll to see if you rally even when you don't want to. He did choose to try to keep it up so that he could have heavy cover for the light cover plus that, but he didn't get it. Okay, so perhaps a bit of an error there from TalkPolite, and he is getting punished for it with a lot of damage on Grievous. This squad is going to do the objective, and oh man, they are just barely in range of Grievous. Another mistake. If he had stayed up top, they wouldn't be in range, because the width of that cliff edge would have prevented them from being in range to him. So once again, he's getting some potential extra damage that he could have avoided. He does have heavy cover. 1 crit gets in, so he has to roll 1 save, but he wouldn't have had to roll the save if he stayed up. He does make his save, though, so all that is going to be is 1 more suppression on him. He obviously would prefer not to have that suppression, and he could have avoided it by staying up there. So overall, what seems like a slight mistake, using scale at the end of this move instead of the start of your next move, in this case ends up actually hitting pretty hard, as he takes at least 1 extra wound from the attack from Bosk, and then an extra suppression from those troopers. So that is an interesting situation where a minor error there from TalkPolite ends up having potentially serious effects, where, we'll see if it matters, but his Grievous could have been with 1 fewer suppression and at least 1 less wound, maybe fewer. If he had dodged, it would have been 2 or more fewer wounds. I do think taking the dodge would have been a better option in that scenario, but I'm not TalkPolite. He did go for the riskier play. He did get hurt for it, but we'll see whether or not he can turn things around here. He does want to keep Grievous alive. It's pretty important, actually, because it enables aggressive tactics on his units, and aggressive tactics is insanely strong. This card is actually broken for the Trade Federation because they can use so many units with face-up order tokens aside from command cards. If you have like a rebel army and you're just giving out your orders normally, it's not that good, because you're going to give out 1 to 3 orders and you're not going to have special stuff giving you more. So because of that, this is not going to get its full effect. But with Trade Federation, where you almost always have huge amounts of units activating, you're almost always triggering that, it's going to be very effective. We're seeing the powerful Trained in Your Jedi Arts card played by General Grievous. This gives him disengage, free dodge. At the end of his activation, he may perform an attack against each enemy unit at range 1 using the following weapon: 1 red, 2 black, and a white. It can attack either at melee or range 1, and it has suppressive and versatile. often referred to as his whirlwind attack. This is going to allow him to do a lot of damage and suppression to the enemy. And now we do see the coordinate chain being triggered. The actions going to all these B1s. On the other side of things, we have Reptilian Rampage, allowing Bosk to take 2 shots and to suffer a wound to do a free move. So I think the plan here is for Bosk to finish off Grievous and claim that bounty, which would put DrRizzle in a very strong position. Now, we're also seeing another, what might be a mistake by TalkPolite. The Droids don't get activations this turn, which means their linked targeting arrays to give them free aim tokens are not kicking in. Ironically, this is the one turn where he really wants where they are going to start shooting in all likelihood, at least the top unit. So because of that, when it's time for those Droids to start shooting, they aren't going to have the free aim, whereas the way that he was doing his activations earlier gave them aim tokens on turns when it didn't matter. It might have been better to not do that. Okay, so we see a move. Oh man, he's going right for it. General Grievous charging into the middle of the enemy army. General Grievous going very aggressive here. He's charging into the middle of all those troopers. He's going to do that whirlwind attack. It's going to hit a lot of things here. So first off, he gets to use his sword and or his gun. So we see what he chooses. This is actually a split fire situation if I've ever seen one, I think. You use one sword on the guys fighting you, and then you shoot your gun at another target. I would use the sword on the guys and maybe shoot Bosk, or maybe shoot one of the... Oh, I would shoot one of the snipers so I can get them in the open and wipe them out. Okay. Yeah, gun on the snipers. He's doing the same thing I would. Black, black, white, white against that squad. They are wide open. So Grievous running in there, shooting his blaster pistol at those snipers. And two hits. He gets 2 hits on those guys. He does have Pierce 1. They need to make both saves to keep a sniper alive. 1 in 9 here to keep one of those models alive. Let's see if he can do it. Can he make both saves? No. The snipers are wiped out. So Grievous charges in, blasting those snipers off the field. That's the first full unit killed. And then we're going to see... Did he forget? I think he forgot aggressive tactics. He has not given out any surge tokens. That's a substantial mistake. So now we're seeing 2 red, 2 black, and a white. So he has tenacity for this melee attack. He ends up getting 3 on that squad. This does have Pierce 1. This is actually good. He wants the squad to stay in combat with him. So 3 hits here. If he killed the whole squad, more things can shoot him. Wow, they fail every save. So 3 stormtroopers wiped out here by General Grievous, and then he gets his whirlwind attack after all of that, which is going to hit every enemy unit at range 1 with 1 red, 2 black, and a white, suppressive and versatile. So Grievous is really a death machine in this game, just FYI. I don't know if you guys have seen him before, but he's one of the most dangerous characters in the game, and I think we're going to see why. So he's already wiped out 1 squad and killed 3 troopers, and now he's going to get to attack the guys in melee with him, these guys, Veers, those guys, and Bosk. So he's going to get to make 5 more attacks with this command card. Even though they're less powerful attacks, this is still extremely scary. Okay, so these guys are going to get light cover. It is a range attack and it doesn't have blast. Whirlwind attack with 3 crits. That cover doesn't matter. There's no pierce, so they're just rolling natural saves, and they fail 2 of them. So 2 troopers killed from that squad, and that's going to be 2 suppression. 2 suppression. And so that squad is up to 3. That's another 2 dead guys. Next whirlwind attack is going to be... He might choose not to attack the guys in base with him to make them spend an action retreating, but we'll see. He attacks Bosk. Bosk also has light... Oh, actually, they're touching the same piece of terrain, so technically he doesn't have cover. Wow, another 3 crits. It doesn't matter if he has cover or not. 3 saves for Bosk. Wow! It almost looked like he was going to pass all 3. He ended up passing 2 out of 3, 1 in 6 saves. So just 1 wound for Bosk, as well as a suppression. That does mean that Bosk is actually suppressed and not enraged. Okay, so I guess he did regenerate because he only has 1 wound. I thought he had rolled that and missed it, but I don't quite recall. Okay, so then the whirlwind attack on that squad, 2 crits and a hit. That's going to be 3 saves for those stormtroopers and 2 suppression for them as well, and 2 failures again, another 2 troopers killed, and 2 suppression tokens for them. Then we're going to see at least on Veers as well, and maybe on the squad he's in base with. I would attack the squad he's in base with. I don't know, it's tough. It's a tough call. He's going for Veers. We'll see if he attacks the guys that he's in base with. All 4 on Veers. No, wait. Yeah, so he should have aggressive. Aggressive tactics is mandatory. And Veers fails 2 as well, so that's going to be 2 wounds on Veers 2 wounds on Veers and 2 suppression on Veers. This is huge damage being inflicted here. So in one activation, General Grievous has killed 7 troopers, put 2 wounds on Veers and a wound on Bosk, and killed both snipers, and we'll see if he does the attack on the squad in melee with him as well. This is absolutely massive damage from General Grievous. He's deciding whether or not he wants to actually attack the unit in base with him. He might not do it. There's an argument for not doing it because... Yeah, okay, he's decided to do it. There's an argument for not doing it because if he kills them, then it'll be easier, but he's going all out. So he's got... Yeah, so he gets tenacity enabled here because this one is actually in melee. 2 red dice, 2 black, and a white. Only gets 2 hits. He's going to save the surge token for his defense and not spend it. So it's just going to be 2 saves against those troopers. If they fail both of these, that's another squad. They fail both. Another squad wiped out. That is massive damage from General Grievous. So General Grievous, in one activation here, has wiped out 2 units, the troopers and the snipers. He has additionally killed 4 other troopers. He's put 2 wounds on Veers and a wound on Bosk, and he's dealt a huge amount of suppression to all these Imperial forces. General Grievous is 1 pip, absolutely deadly if you get in there and, are able to do that whirlwind against a lot of forces. Now let's see though, he's in a tough spot himself. His defenses are not so great at this time because of that extra damage. Imagine if he had been on top of that cliff last turn and had spent a dodge token. We could see this situation with him having 2 more wounds. That would be truly frightening. Okay. So they pull a sniper, but he chooses to use improvised orders to repick something, getting a core unit instead. He doesn't want to go too early with that sniper. He's activating this black unit because they're in a very bad position here. They are also at risk of being suppressed enough that they panic. They only rally 1, but they're in range of Veers, so they won't panic. They have, however, taken heavy losses. They just have the squad leader, 1 trooper, and the DLT. Their only action is going to be to move. They want to shoot Grievous, but they can't do it. There's so many droids coming up here that they just want to fall back to prevent more shots from coming in at them from all these separatist forces. This is a very dangerous situation. If DrRizzle can't kill Grievous this turn, he's going to be... If DrRizzle cannot kill Grievous this turn, he may just be overrun with all these droids still coming down the field. This is a very frightening situation. Bucket of Dice says Grievous single-handedly balanced the activation difference, and yeah, that's true. Grievous killed 2 units in 1 activation, and that has put the Imperials down to just 9 units on the board, which is the same as the droids. However, with Grievous only having 3 wounds remaining himself, there's a high chance he will himself be killed this turn. And if that happens, and we see Grievous killed, then the situation is going to be, assuming no other Imperial units are wiped out, then we would see a situation where it would be a little different. Okay, so yeah, he's giving out the other. He's giving out the other surge tokens. Yeah, so 3 surge tokens for those front battle droid squads, and we're going to see those first battle droid squads in action. They're going to move up around this objective. They move up around the obstacle. They're going to be... that's a little close to that thing, but I guess it's got a divot. Yeah, so they're in range. They're only in range of that 1 squad that has been retreating. But they weren't able to retreat far enough. They were not able to retreat far enough, and now these droids are going to be engaging them. And they're going to be moving up and using this triple barricade position for cover. These battle droids are also getting within striking distance of this objective. If next turn they move up and shoot again, then the turn after that they can move up and do this objective and start sabotaging the home objective here of DrRizzle. So his forces, he's given a lot of ground to get more time taking those shots. He has got a lot of damage on Grievous from that, as well as some droids down, but he's out of space and the droids are coming in. Let's see what happens. The droids engaging the unit up front that was retreating previously. They will have heavy cover because they have light cover plus a dodge, but there's 7 white dice and 3 black dice plus a surge token. This is a lot of firepower coming in. Let's see what happens here. 4 hits. 4 hits and 2 surges. He spends the surge token to make it 5. That's going to be 3 saves taken from that squad. This squad should have used its medic this turn to try to bring somebody back, because I honestly think they're going to be wiped out without getting the chance to use it. I don't know why he didn't use the medic. I think they're going to get wiped out by these droids. He loses another trooper there. So he's not dead yet, but there's going to be, I think I think there's going to be maybe 2 more droid squads that can engage these guys, so there's a very high chance that this medic will actually die without being able to be used. Interesting situation there, because I think that I think these droid actually I guess it's only one droid and then maybe the Decas. I guess it's only one droid and then maybe the Decas. So maybe they'll be okay. Okay, Bosk activating here. Bosk is going to try to take down General Grievous. If he can take down General Grievous, he can score a bounty. Now he does need to roll to rally. He has 2 suppression. If he can't rally one of these, he only gets 1 action, which would actually be devastatingly bad. He doesn't rally! He only gets 1 action. This is devastating for him because he has Reptilian Rampage, a card that allows you to use 2 different actions to attack. But with only 1 action available, he can only make 1 attack, so his card's main effect is wasted. He's going to take a shot at Grievous, but it's only going to be 1 shot and not 2. Grievous has a serious chance to live through this, and that would mean the bounty would not be claimed. Here come the dice. Oh, and he can't actually attack. He's within minimum range. This is horrific. Okay. Wait. I think they realize it. They realize it. They realize he's within minimum range. His only option is to... So with this card, you can wound yourself to do a free move. So he can wound himself to do a free move and use the move to run away. And maybe he can run far enough away that Grievous is no longer at range 1, which would mean that he would no longer be in... No, he's doing the opposite. He's going in. This is so risky. He's going in and attacking Grievous in hand-to-hand combat with Bosk. This is wild. This means none of these other units can shoot Grievous. The other units will be shooting the troopers instead. If Bosk... Oh, man, this is so risky. This is a crazy moment. He's going in to attack... Now, Bosk is powerful. He has 1 red, 2 black, and a white. Now, wait a minute here. Oh, man. Yeah, so ironically, the fact that he regenerated was bad. If he had not, he could wound himself, then enraging himself, allowing himself to move in, charge, get 2 attacks. This is so crazy. This is crazy. Bosk in melee against Grievous. Can he do it? He does have Pierce 1. If he can take down Grievous with this attack, Bosk will be the hero of the Empire. He gets 1 crit and a hit, but he has a free aim from Hunter. Okay, 2 hits and a crit. Grievous will spend his dodge and roll 2 saves. Yeah, Grievous spends his dodge. Grievous is not going to die. So you can take Tenacity on Boss to give him an extra red die. It's kind of out of fashion, but in this case it would have been very important. So he's rolling 3. He does have a Surge to Block enabled. Because he has block. And so he blocks everything. Grievous laughs off that attack from Bosk with no effect whatsoever, and now the Empire is in a major spot of trouble. Bosk only managing to get 1 attack and not doing any damage to Grievous, and because he's in melee with Grievous, unless these other squads charge him, they themselves cannot attack the droid commander. So we're going to see the other squads forced to engage these battle droids instead, and Grievous still in position for next turn. This is so crazy. This is... man... Screwtape questions this move. Why would you activate Bosk before Inspire from Veers? A correct thing. A correct question to ask in my view. Bosk not rallying here was so bad for the forces. And now we're seeing more battle droids marching forward. They're filling into that gap. More and more battle droids attacking. They're in range of Bosk, but they can't shoot him. It's going to be more shots on that squad that was doing the objective and now pulls back. Once again, this squad has had 1 model picked off by a sniper, so it's only going to be 6 white dice. 6 white dice and 3 black dice firing on those troopers. That's going to be 3 hits and a crit, so they're going to have to take 2 saves. Yeah, so just 2 saves there for those troopers. If they fail both of these, they'll lose their medic and their DLT. They fail one of them, so he'll lose the DLT, but not yet the medic. If the medic can live, it can... Oh, but the medic is already... The squad's already been activated, so it can't use the medic this turn. So the medic will not get a chance to bring back the DLT, but perhaps the other medical squad could, though they're over there. They're a little bit out of position. Heavy losses here on these droids. Okay. Grand Admiral Thrawn 10 in the chat asking, what is block again? So block is It's like deflect, but instead of wounding the target, it just defends you. So while defending, if you spend a dodge token, you gain surge to block. So it's the defensive side of deflect without the aspect that damages them. And that's to represent that Grievous can block stuff with his sabers, but he doesn't have like the Jedi reflexes and perception to allow him to bounce shots back. He's just like a good fighter and good at defending himself. So he has a little bit weaker version of the deflect rule that the Jedi like Luke, Vader, or Obi-Wan benefit from. Okay. Man, this has been very exciting. Kev Nobi says, this is A++ commenting, I feel hype. Dude, I feel hype, man. This is a wild game. I was thinking for a moment that Grievous might just be in too dangerous a position. Now, why are these troopers advancing? Oh, they're gonna start returning fire. What? Okay, there we go. They're going to start returning fire. They're engaging the red troopers. They should move further back. He's moving too far up. He wants to move to the very edge of the range so that other units can't potentially attack him. But I guess these troopers, because they're probably going to just do this objective and then recover, they're not really in a position. Wait a minute, though. These guys could actually panic. They have 3 suppression, but they're now going to be out of range of General Grievous. So we could see the B1 battle droids here actually panicking. In fact, it's quite likely they would have to hit 2 out of 3. If he draws any snipers, they need to engage this unit to increase the panic chance now that they're going to be out of range of Grievous's command bubble. But over here, I'm getting ahead of myself. Over here, it looks like he's found... Yeah, so they're discussing this rule. If a unit has both light and heavy cover, then they have whichever one more units have, and if it's a tie, it goes to heavy. What is this? What is he rolling? Oh, okay. So got it. So he already rolled the attack, and then he rolls the defense. Does make 1 save, so 1 B1 picked off by these troopers. Not a ton of damage given the cheap price of these B1s. All right. So these guys on the Vaporator need to activate. So these guys have 3 suppression. He needs to hit 2 out of 3 rallies or they panic. He needs to hit 2 out of 3 rallies or they panic. Can he do it? Can he do it? 2 out of 3 rallies. He does it. He hits 2 rallies, and because these are battle droids, they aren't even suppressed. They ignore suppression. So because of that lucky roll, this squad not only gets 1 action, but actually 2. We're going to see them finish repairing the objective, and then the next action is likely going to be a recover, which will allow them to have both their HQ uplink and their rocket launcher ready for next turn. Yep, there we go. There's the recover. And he's going to use the recover action. Recover. It looks like he's forgetting to remove his suppression from the recover action. So it is not actually mandatory to remove suppression from recovering. Oh, wait, but maybe he sees it. He does see it. Yeah, because he recovers, he does. Okay, he does see it. He does see it. Okay, so he's removing the suppression from the recover as well. And so a lucky roll there means instead of panicking, these guys finish the objective and they're good to go for next turn with their HQ uplink and their rocket launcher both primed. A sniper is now activating here. So this sniper could engage... It looks like these droids are going to have heavy cover thanks to that barricade. They can't engage Grievous because he's in combat. This situation is starting to look a little desperate for these Imperials, quite frankly. I don't know that they're in a good spot. It looks like they're going to aim and shoot. They get 1 hit. The reroll makes it another hit, so that's 1 more battle droid picked off. But you really don't want your snipers picking off 6-point battle droids. You want them doing a little bit more than that. So these attacks have not been as effective as they would be if he was shooting more expensive and heavily armored troopers. That Pierce, allowing him to ignore the defense, also a little bit wasted because these droids are likely to fail their save anyway. Okay, so another squad is moving up. I don't think they're in range. Yeah, they're not in range. This squad should probably have actually waited. I think activating them is a bit of a mistake here. The reason that I say that is because this squad might have moved up to engage over here, which would allow these guys to in turn move up and engage that squad. So I think he activated those guys a little bit too early. I don't think this was the correct time to activate them. He should have delayed. He also needs to watch out that he doesn't block his own movement path for these Droidicas. In fact, this is I don't like this move. He's a little too aggressive with this squad. I would have waited. I would have just done this squad on the back objective. They just need to do this objective and then move, and that would in turn just delay longer and make it so that these guys have a higher chance of being able to move up and then take a shot. So this red unit may be activating a little bit sooner than I would have liked, but nevertheless, moving up. And this You know, as I predicted, this triple barricade area is becoming quite a danger. I shouldn't say that I predicted it. I discussed the possibility that this would happen. The Imperials gave a lot of ground, but now the Droids have a very strong position with this triple barricade zone. A very strong position. Something's wrong. Yeah, so this is a bug. Sometimes if a unit is on angled terrain, or like these guys are actually on a... I think these guys are maybe on a terrain piece. I don't know what's causing it, but this unit is not in range. Though they are showing us in range, you can clearly see the range band here not touching these bases. So in disputed cases on Tabletop Simulator, you need to use the range bands themselves instead of the display, as the display does have an unfortunate tendency to glitch out sometimes. So we are seeing these guys moving up and firing. So this is kind of what I was talking about also, where like if he had delayed with these guys and they had moved up to shoot them, the red guys could then move up and fire there instead of having to move twice, I believe. Though it's not guaranteed. I'm not sure they would have had enough space with only one move instead of two, but we'll have to see here. Okay. So now we're seeing the squad. They're firing. They're focusing fire on that unit. This is a full squad with 4 white dice from the basic stormtroopers and 2 reds, and they do have the surge to hit since the stormtroopers are better shots than those droids, but they only get 2 hits. The cover just bounces it off. No effect. These stormtroopers are not doing enough damage to the droids. There are a lot of droids coming in here. You know, just these 3 squads of droids alone, I think, outnumber the stormtroopers that remain on the field. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, these 3 squads of droids alone, I think, outnumber the number of stormtroopers, though there are some snipers and characters left as well. And now we're seeing... he should not go with these Droidicas. He's making the same mistake. So these Droidicas themselves needed to wait until this white unit moves up. He activates them too early, and he doesn't get the shot. Same deal as with the red unit. He activated that little bit too early, and now he's going to do a double move instead of a shot. The Droidicas are waddling forward with their normal move instead of doing their wheel mode, which does mean that their shields are still up, though, and they do get cover from barricades, as was discussed on a live stream, even though technically they shouldn't. They're going to be in a position next turn to do a lot of damage with these Droidicas joining the line here. A lot of Trade Federation stuff here. These Imperials have got to be a little bit worried about what's going to happen in this next turn. Okay, so a little bit of a mistake there from TalkPolite, meaning that these 2 units are missing chances to attack that they might otherwise have had. That is going to provide a bit of a reprieve but to DrRizzle, but Grievous did so much damage. Look at this view from the Imperial side of the board. There's just so many droids here, and that's with these units not having moved up yet, and those Decas not having moved up on the flank. The situation is looking explosive. Okay, these troopers are going to, I believe, aim and engage the Droidicas. This is also silly. He needs to focus fire Droidicas to actually kill them. He should not be engaging them with light dice pools, but he gets a strong roll. You know, even though he's not focus firing, he is everything. He has a maximum result here. The only thing that could have been better would have been just more crits. Yeah, so the Droidicas do get cover from barricades because the provisional rules are in effect for this. There's an update to the rulebook that clarifies this. Rules as written, they didn't, but there's an update that will fix this. It is intended that they get cover. 3, 4, 5, 6 get in, 2 saved by cover. So he's taking 2 saves, and 2 saves for the Droidica, and then 2 uses of his shields. He blocks 1, and so then he flips 2 shield tokens to take 2 blocks, and then he takes 2 saves, failing 1. So he has his 2 shields still up and 1 wound on these Decas. So that does mean, you know, he's going to regenerate 1 of these shields going into the next turn. And he's keeping the shields up a bit so that he will still have shields to block against the snipers. The shields do block pierces. If you spend a shield, they can't pierce through it to still damage you. So if you want to have your shields up against pierce weapons, because you can spend a shield token to not take any health damage, whereas if you get to saves, they will guaranteed you health damage. Another squad moving up. This one is out of range and wouldn't be able to get in range, so this one is not really a mistake in the same way that I think those previous ones might have been. Moving up and just joining the absolute swarm of B1 battle droids on this center. You know, these 3 barricades are almost an ideal position for these droids, and the Imperials here are looking really in trouble as even more separatist combat units flooding into the gap here on turn 3. Even more units. What a game, man. Okay. Grand Admiral Thrawn says this cast deserves to be televised. Thank you, Thrawn. I appreciate that. Oh, and I got some shout-outs here. Sorry for being slow on this. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Hey Leia, and Night Goblin have all followed during this stream. Shout out to Grand Admiral Thrawn. Shout out to Hey Leia. Shout out to Night Goblin. Thanks for following the channel, guys. Much appreciated. We're going to be bringing you some more streams. This is my first stream since getting my computer fixed, and luckily it is an exciting one. Okay, so then we're seeing... Madman Rambler says, did the droids lose Grievous? No, in fact, Grievous hasn't taken a single wound this turn. Bosk assaulted him in hand-to-hand combat, kind of a desperation play here, but he wasn't able to do any damage after Grievous blocked the whole thing using his block ability. He dodged one and blocked the others, even with that pierce, since he had the surge to block and everything. So these droids are going to finish doing the objective, and then they're going to move. They are a little delayed, as you can see. These rocket droids in the backfield. Now he needs to. I think what we're going to see here. I think this squad is actually not going to have an order next turn, but they're going to be far enough out of range that AI behavior won't kick in. Oh, actually, they didn't use their HQ uplink? Interesting. Okay. Okay, yeah. So they didn't use their HQ uplink this turn. They still have it. So next turn we might see HQ uplink, coordinate, 6 activations again off these HQ uplinks. Even if he plays like ambush to go first with Grievous again, he's going to be able to do have those B1s still activated, I believe. We're now seeing a shot being fired by a sniper into these droids. Only one hit. The reroll does hit, so that is another droid picked off, as well as another suppression for that squad. He is piling the suppression on one squad, normally a good tactic, but because these droids aren't affected as much by suppression, piling a lot of suppression on them is going to be a lot less effective than it would be with rebels or stormtroopers. So these droids are encroaching. Okay, so now we're seeing the droidicas being activated here, and now it's possible they could get a shot, but I don't think they're going to be in range. I guess his first move is going to have to be speed 1 anyway, just to like round around this thing without going off the edge. So he's going to do a speed 1 move here. He's well out of range. So it's going to be a speed 1 move here, and then he's going to switch into wheel mode. Yeah, so speed 1 move. Oh no, he's not going to do wheel mode. He's just going to waddle forward aggressively. Yeah, so the aggressive Droidica waddle here, I don't know. I would do wheel mode. There's not much left to shoot. I would move up at speed 3 instead, because this way, I guess these guys are likely going to be in range. Yeah, he's doing it. So the advantage of not doing it would be that your shields stay up, but if he does it like this, he gets cover 2 instead of just the cover 1, even though he can't use his shields. But then he also gets closer, so he has more of a chance to shoot. So these Droidicas were not necessarily moved the most efficient way possible, but just look at this encroaching force. These Imperials are in desperate trouble. There's 4 squads of droids and 2 units of Droidicas on the front line. Even if Grievous were dead, which he isn't, even if Grievous were dead, these forces would be quite frightening to these Imperials. Quite frightening indeed. Okay. The sniper that was shot down by Grievous is pulled. That's not a real unit, so now the only remaining unit is General Veers. Let's see if he can clear his suppression. He has 2 suppression tokens, and he does not have strict orders, so he cannot automatically rally 1. He rolls 2, he does roll 1. He does manage to clear 1 suppression token, so he will get 2 actions here. He's probably going to move and shoot, I guess. He needs to use Inspire. Maybe forgetting to use Inspire here. He has not removed a suppression from any other unit. He should be removing a suppression from this unit of troopers that has 4. There's no reason not to do this. But Inspire is not mandatory. And because Inspire is not mandatory, I'm not pointing out that he has forgotten it. He's moving. He's moving a tiny amount. I guess he doesn't... Yeah, he doesn't have a shot. What is he doing? All he did is move. He just did a tiny move. I don't like that. I don't think that's what I would have done. Unfortunately, he was actually the last thing to be pulled, and because he was the last thing to be pulled, he did not get a chance to use his abilities to benefit the other things. It would have been better to get him sooner. And now... Oh, wow, and I also forgot, this is hostile environment. So actually there's going to be a huge amount of suppression. This red unit doesn't even remove one because they aren't touching any objective. So they still have 4. They could panic even if Grievous doesn't die. This squad is at risk of potentially panicking, though strict orders could be used. Bossk is on 2 wounds. Can Grievous kill him in 1 hit? So Grievous could aim an attack and have 3 red dice, 4 black dice, and 2 white dice against Bossk. There's a good chance that he could just scythe down Bossk with his double lightsabers here. And if he does do that, he'll probably be shot down by the remaining units, but having killed Bossk, there will be no chance for them to claim a bounty, and these droids might be able to clean them up. Let's see what happens with these command cards as we go into round 4. As we go into round 4, I think we're going to see the ambush to go first with Grievous versus an ambush or a merciless munitions to try to go as soon as possible with Bossk. Let's see if my prediction is correct. Bossk versus Grievous dueling here, and let me tell you, that duel is not in Bosk's favor. It is not in Bosk's favor. Grand Admiral Thrawn says, Rizzle is going to have droids in his nightmares today. I would be completely pooping my pants watching these droids close in on me like this. And I gotta say, you know, a little bit crude of a statement perhaps, but it's scary time for these troopers, let me tell you. There's a lot of droids lined up. And, okay. We're seeing merciless munitions, but it's not ambush. It's going to be push. Oh, a clever play here. He's going to use push, and he's going to give orders to the 2 Droidekas, kicking in their linked targeting arrays. Then he's going to use the aim token chain, or he's going to use the coordinate chain, so the only thing left in his pool is going to be Grievous. Now, the one downside to this strategy is that without a order on Grievous, he cannot use his aggressive tactics. Because Grievous does not have a face-up order token, he cannot use aggressive tactics to give a surge on Grievous. And because of that, he might find himself in a dangerous position, because he won't have as much melee defense as he might have otherwise. He's trusting Grievous to be able to survive a melee attack from Bossk, but without the surge token, there is that extra risk that Bossk could actually kill Grievous in melee. And personally, I think I would have ignored giving an order to one of these Droidekas. Yes, you lose an aim, but I would rather have the surge on Grievous than I would have an aim on one of these Droidekas, just because Grievous surviving to get to attack is quite important in this scenario. Okay, that's not what he chose to do, though. So on his aggressive tactics... okay, you know what? He thought about the thing that I was saying. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. TalkPolite, you better not be listening to this stream and doing my... You better not be listening to this stream and taking my advice, bro. Okay, so he is going to give 1 to Grievous. He neglects giving 1 to that guy. This is also not so good, I think. I don't like giving these surges to Dekas. I would rather give it to troopers. Alright. So he's attacking. Is he going to aim first? Bossk activating first. Bossk is considering, should I dodge, should I aim? He's going to go for Grievous here. He does have merciless munitions. He can plant a bomb and use it to poison. Yeah, he's not going to use an aim. He's going to just swing on Grievous. He swings on Grievous, only gets 2 hits, but he has a free aim from Hunter, so he gets to reroll these anyway. So he has 2 hits on Grievous, and he rerolls these. Can he get more than 2? No! So Grievous will live. 3 saves for Grievous because of Impervious. With 1 pierce. He does have a surge token to potentially spend. Can he block this whole attack? No, not quite. So he's going to spend his surge token to only take 1 wound. He spends his surge token, so that's a block. Then that gets pierced, so 1 gets in. Grievous with 2 wounds remaining. And now we're going to see Bossk, I believe, using his poison. No, he dodged. What? What a mistake. What a mistake. So he could have planted this bomb. Like, he could have planted this bomb over here and detonated it, hitting himself and hitting Grievous. But if he does even 1 wound to Grievous, the poison counter will kill Grievous after he activates. And then Bossk would take Grievous down with him. I think this is a huge mistake. To dodge instead of using that bomb, I would absolutely be trying to kill Grievous here ASAP. Because now, Grievous can wait to activate until the end. And if he kills Bossk, he's going to be standing there waiting to hit these other guys. He draws his 1 Droidica. He has to attack as his first action, but those troopers are in the open. They take 4 hits from the Droidicas and 2 suppression tokens because of the suppressive nature of these Droidica's weapons. The troopers taking saves and 2 troopers are killed. So 2 dead stormtroopers and 2 suppression thanks to that barrage from the Droidicas. Now, this barrage could have been more powerful. Okay, and then his second action is a move. His second action is a move. Yeah. He forgot to regenerate Bosk. Yeah, so he forgot to spend regenerate with Bosk. But regenerate is mandatory. So let's see if Bosk can regenerate anything. No. Okay. So, so he's using his medic. He finally uses his medic. This is the first time he's used it. He's made very inefficient use of these medics. No disrespect. DrRizzle, if you're watching this, no disrespect. I'm not saying this to say you're bad. I'm just saying this to like point stuff out for other people. He's using his medics quite late in the game. He does use them to heal 1 wound from Bosk. But, Bosk having healed 1 wound, it's not, it would have been better if he had been able to use this on more impactful things earlier. But, maybe that's going to be the 1 wound that keeps Bosk alive in the melee with Grievous, in which case it would be quite nice. This medic hasn't been used at all. I mean, I know normally the medics are for like gunline versus gunline, like you're bringing back your snipers and stuff, but he hasn't made great use of them in this situation. Okay. Okay, the battle droids, they're continuing to march forward. The battle droids are just continuing to march forward. This unit has 3 suppression tokens, but they cleared 1 with strict orders for the guaranteed suppression clear. This is a bad move. He needs to move a little bit further and touch this, but not go into it, so that he can clear another suppression for free at the end of this turn. No reason not to do this. This is like a minor mistake, but it is a mistake. He doesn't see it. He doesn't have them touching. And they're going to shoot Veers, who they've caught in the open. So that's going to be 4 white dice and 3 black dice. From 4 E5s and 1 E5C. Veers in the open. He's already taken... oh, man. And they get 3 hits, spend their surge token to make it up to 4 hits. He's in the open. 4 saves for General Veers. Can he survive? No! 3 more wounds for Veers, and that's it. General Veers is killed. He already took 2, and that attack from the droids finishes him off. General Veers is removed without getting to activate this turn. This situation is going from bad to worse for the Empire. The Trade Federation guys here are just absolutely overrunning them. They are in a lot of trouble. Their best hope now is probably for some very lucky scenario to occur where Bosk manages to survive against Grievous, and then next turn, if Bosk could kill Grievous and claim the bounty, maybe there's some chance. But this situation is going from bad to worse. It is not looking good for the Empire here. Okay, they still have a fair few troopers left. Nowhere near the numbers of those droids. Their troopers have managed to catch these guys in the open, though. Let's see if they can do some damage to these droids that are encroaching on the Imperial objective. 4 white and 2 reds. Presumably he's aimed. He gets a hit and a crit. He's then going to reroll 1 red and 2 white dice, add in another 2. 4 hits on those droids in the open, so that could be a lot of damage on those droids. They don't get suppression cover because they are droids. That's the downside of them getting 2 actions even while suppressed. And 3 of them make it in because there's no more surge token. Just the droid unit leader and the E5C are now remaining. This squad is likely going to be wiped out this turn, I feel. Surge token incorrectly given to them instead of a suppression token. There we go, there's a suppression token. So these droids are quite possibly going to be wiped out, but I don't think the Imperials have the focused fire necessary to take down these Droidicas. To say nothing of the 3 other droid squads encroaching, these guys that can move up and shoot their rocket, and these guys who are going to be on the front line soon. The situation's looking grim for the Empire, but let's see whether or not they can manage to prevail. The funny thing is this situation was looking pretty good until General Grievous got in there and took down so many guys. Grievous is really a monster in this game. He doesn't have the same defense as some of the other Jedi. Vader has the same 8 wounds as Grievous, but he has full immune to deflect instead of impervious, and he has full immune to pierce instead of impervious, and he can himself deflect shots back at his opponents instead of just blocking them. But Grievous has quite strong defense And his offense is just crazy, especially when he can get into a clump of bunched up troopers like he did there. Okay, so we're going to see this droid squad engaging them. They have light cover for their suppression only, and we are seeing, as had been discussed earlier, these Imperials being caught in the open with the droids in a strong position. Only one crit gets in, though, with a below average roll for the droids, so one save being made for those Imperial troopers. Let's see if they can make it. That save is going to succeed, so the Stormtrooper armor holding up here. You know, sometimes I talk about how ironically, Legion is one of the few Star Wars games where Stormtrooper armor is actually good. The difference between the red defense die of the Stormtroopers and the white defense die of the droids is substantial. However, these guys haven't activated yet. They have 3 suppression. They need to rally 2 or they panic. And they don't. They panic with General Veers having been killed. This unit panics and they might well run off the board. They panic. They have to retreat. They aren't quite off the board, but they are running, and they're not going to do anything this turn. That also critically means that they can't use this medic, because you can't take even free actions while you're panicking, which means that this unused medic is not going to be able to bring back one of the dead troopers. Ideally, he would, if he'd managed to rally, ideally you would bring back one of the guys that just got killed and then fire or something, but he wasn't able to do that. With the loss of their leader, you know, these Imperial guys are seeing this giant, massive droids and thinking, hey, you know, I'm out of here, man. And these Droidicas have regenerated one of their shields, of course. They only have 1 wound and 1 shield down. Now, more of these B1 battle droids are trumping into position. They're just marching forward. If they can engage those snipers in the open, they probably want to. If not, they might fire into the white squad there that's holding behind the barricade. But if he can get that shot in the open, he's probably going to want to take it. More battle droids just marching forward to engage the Imperial forces. He is in range of the snipers. I think we're going to see the white sniper unit being engaged here. They are in the open. A lot of battle droids marching up and firing. That's going to be 7 white and 3 black. They managed to get 2. Oh, no. Just 1. They don't have a surge token, so just 1 hit. Yeah. So they moved one. There was one that was cacked on another one. Oh, well, he's taking it anyway. All right. He's fine with it. So he takes 2. He takes 2, and he takes that sniper team is wiped out. The Imperial forces are rapidly crumbling here. Their decision to engage Grievous in melee with Bossk, I honestly feel, is a major error. I don't think that was the right way to do that at all. I think that what they needed to do was focus fire Grievous and shoot him down, and then maybe they can win this shootout. But you know, with the droids not having aggressive tactics anymore and only being courage 1, maybe he can get them panicking, but that wasn't to be. His sniper does manage to take out the heavy weapon droids. This droid only has 1 model left and he's heavily suppressed, but there's just too many of these droids left. The Droidicas, you know, these guys spent a long time getting in position, but now they're here. I think they're going to aim again and shoot. They're blasting this unit of Imperials with 2 hits. They're going to spend their surge token to make that one a hit also, so that's going to be 3 hits, 4 hits, 5 hits, and they spend their second aim token. They had 1 from the link target and they took 1. Maximum result. 6 hits in on those Stormtroopers. They do have light cover, so that's going to be 5 saves. 5 saves. 5 saves for the troopers. This could wipe the squad if they roll unlucky enough. They roll above average, or good side of average, losing only 2 troopers, but that's going to be another 2 suppression. These Droidicas chewing away at the Imperials, and I don't really see a comeback here unless something crazy happens with Bossk. But let's see what happens, and let's see how much damage the Imperials can do here. Okay, core unit being pulled. The squad that just got attacked engages. If they don't rally here, they panic. They do rally 1. They're staying in the fight. They have 2 white and 2 red. They're probably going to attack the droid there. They have him. He does have light cover, but this is probably going to be his end. They should maybe split fire and fire their heavy weapon at another squad. They might be able to get those guys outside of cover. I can't quite tell. But no, they're going to focus fire. This could be overkill, but it isn't. They only get 1 through. So 1 hit through. Can he make his save? 1 in 6, he makes it. The 1 battle droid there from the aggressive squad is staying alive. He's up to 6 suppression tokens, so even if Grievous lives, this guy is probably fleeing next turn. But he has taken a lot of punishment here. Now another battle droid squad activating. They're marching into position. They're firing. They're probably going to try to take down the blue snipers if they're in range. And as we had discussed earlier, this triple barricade position is just an amazing spot against this kind of open field. The Empire gave too much ground, I feel. They needed to use cover themselves. Even just having their troops in this jungle might have been better. But they wasn't to be. And they were naturally afraid of Grievous. Another option might have been to move across this side more. But as we can see, this plan is not working out so well. The snipers getting engaged yet again. Snipers getting engaged yet again. They're in the open. They're being fired upon. And wow, so many surges. But there's no surge token there, so it's just going to be 2. Oh no, they have light cover. Oh yeah, they shot the troopers, not the snipers. They shot the troopers. They do fail their save though. So that's going to be another suppression for the fleeing troopers, and they're down to just their heavy weapon and medic. I thought they were shooting the blue snipers, but I didn't see it. I didn't see it correctly. Man, the Empire is crumbling. The Empire is crumbling. Now they're overly focused firing these droids, but I think they're maybe just trying to go for the can I remove anything, just going for spite. They do get 3 hits on that guy. He's in the open from them, I believe. I think he's in the open. It doesn't matter. He's dead from just 2. Red droid is wiped out. So the it's unclear if the Empire is actually going to be able to move up and do this objective, but they have lost, or the Separatists, but they are so ahead on units killed that I don't think it's going to matter. Okay, and then it looks like they forgot to do their second action, so it's just going to be a dodge. Probably would have been better to split fire again, use the normal guns on him, use the red dice on the deck, as you're saying, but it probably won't matter either way. This unit's going to move up. They could fire a rocket launcher here at range 4, but it looks like they're going to try to just push up and get as many droids as possible in the zone. So even more battle droids joining the attack now. That one squad was gunned down, but another squad, although a depleted squad, is moving into the battle line to take its place. The hordes of droids. Yeah, draws the sniper unit that got killed, draws Veers who got killed. The Empire's out of activations. How many units do they have left? They have 1 unit of troopers, 2 units of troopers, 3 units of troopers. Okay, so they have 5 stormtrooper squads, and they have 5 stormtrooper squads, 1 medic, and Bosk left. So they're on 7 activations. The battle droids have lost 1 unit and are thus on 8 activations. Now we're seeing rapid movement forward. This other squad with the rocket launcher is coming to join the party here. Last but not least, General Grievous himself. So Grievous is going to aim and attack Bosk. Can he take Bosk down? He has 4 black dice, 2 white dice. Okay, so they're adding another. They forgot to use tenacity, but they're adding it here. Yeah. Wait, this is wrong. This is there's to his disadvantage, but yeah, okay, so it's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, so 7 hits on Bosk here from Grievous. 7 hits from Bosk. Grievous is in big trouble. Or 7 hits from Grievous on Bosk. Bosk is in trouble. He makes 2 saves, but Grievous has Pierce 2. Okay, so they're going to reroll it. He forgot to spend the dodge, so he's going to reroll it and spend 6. Okay, so he only has 1 wound. He only has 1. If he can make 2 or more of these blocks. No, if he can make 3 or more. He doesn't do it. The Pierce from Grievous cuts through the 1 block that Bosk can make and kills him. Bosk does not have emergency stims, and he is removed outright. So Grievous has killed Bosk. This situation has gone from bad to worse. Both Imperial characters are now dead. There's a huge swarm of battle droids, and Grievous is still alive. And it's looking grim. It's looking grim. And that is a GG. That is a GG. The Imperial player has conceded. And quite frankly, I think that's reasonable. The Imperial forces have been overrun here by the Separatists. In this next turn, both Imperial characters are dead. It's going to be Grievous here. He can maybe even take down 2 units. He could charge the blue guys and hit them with his sword while shooting his pistol at that unit, quite possibly killing both, or shooting the snipers or doing whatever. These droids will probably have a chance to be able to mess with that objective, and there's just no way that the Imperials can hold the line against all these droids. So that's going to be the game, and what a game it was for the first streamed game with the Separatists. All right, so that was the game. Congratulations to TalkPolite for a victory. First showing of the Separatists in the league, and it was a scary one with them taking a strong win here over what looked initially like a pretty similar list. You know, an Imperial gunline versus a Separatist gunline. The droids prevailed. Let's enable system audio here and get in for an interview with TalkPolite. Let's see if we can get that working here. Okay. Okay, TalkPolite, can you hear me? Okay, we got some issues here. It looks like I'm trying to configure this so that we have the audio coming in here. Try saying something again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we had some issues with the we had a little bit of issues here with the mic settings for this. But it should be fixed now. We should have you on stream. So congratulations on that victory. Excellent first showing for the Separatists here in the Invader League.
The Invader League.
I got that right when I first announced it. I was thinking of your league. This is the Yavin Base Team League. First game with the Separatists and a strong victory. Congratulations. So what's it like? What's it like using the droids?
I mean, I really appreciate the order control. I know that like the way that I played it this game, I maybe didn't get the max value out of it with the way that I played some of my command. I was trying to think, you know, more than a couple steps ahead, and sometimes that's kind of dangerous. So like, I know I wasn't using my droidicas very well and whatnot, but overall, it's still, even if you don't get the benefit of that, I still think they're, you know, having full control of the army like I did basically every turn is still very powerful and, you know, a good way to go.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, I made a few comments on this on the stream. I think like there were a few times where you maybe could have used the command cards or like the droidica movements more efficiently. But overall, you know, it ended up going very well despite that, as we saw. Grievous. Yeah. Grievous is a monster. How much stuff did Grievous kill there, man? He killed Bosk and an entire unit of stormtroopers and a sniper, and he did 2 wounds to Veers and killed like 4 other troopers or something. It's just crazy.
I think in total he did like 13 or 14 wounds with that attack, with his main attack and with all the other stuff. And then, you know, that's got to be like, I don't know, 12 suppression handed out on top of that.
Oh, so. Yeah, you know, I'd forgotten that. And then that suppression on Bosk, ultimately quite critical, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really big. I didn't even think about it until after the fact, but then when I saw that was a possibility, I was like, oh.
Do you have that command card out somewhere? Can I show that to the viewers in case there are people watching now who missed the initial thing? Yeah, there we go. Trained in your Jedi. Oops. Yeah. Trained in your Jedi arts. General Grievous gains disengage and 1 dodge token. At the end of his activation, he can perform an attack against each enemy unit at range 1 using the following weapon: 1 red, 2 black, 1 white, melee or range 1, suppressive, versatile. And that, as we saw, made a huge impact. I've
been able to use it before where Grievous has double moved into melee with something at the end of his turn, and then next turn he'll really bank on that disengage to move through the front of my opponent's army and then kind of hit the heart like he did in that move.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that was one of the few negatives of Rizzle's strategy of kind of that backup. It meant his forces were a lot more concentrated, whereas he, you know, might have been spread out in another position. Yeah,
we were discussing that. On the stream. You know, this triple barricade thing ended up being a really strong position for all these droids, and the Imperials were sort of trapped.
The thing I was banking on was that even though I knew Grievous was going to take a lot of pressure, I mean, he kind of took more wounds than I expected him to on the way in, but even though I knew he was going to take a lot, if I could get this army behind this awesome barricade thing, he can back up all the way to the board edge, and I've basically got him in range 3.
Yeah, I think that was a good strategy. I think you used the train pretty effectively there, with with Grievous skirting around the edge at first, also, so he's not being sniped at. That was pretty good. I'm going to highlight the Supreme Commander cards. This was the one card from Grievous that you didn't use. So this is two troopers, General Grievous gains 1 surge token for each other friendly trooper unit at range 1, while another friendly trooper unit has a face-up order token. It gains Guardian 2 and can use Guardian during a melee attack. So this is kind of his like defense or tanking card, where sometimes maybe you use this the turn before you use Trained in Your Jedi Arts. You have like him still with your guys. You get a bunch of surge tokens for defense, and then next turn you get in there.
Yeah, you get surge tokens for defense, and I found that you get them for offense as because he only surges when you're fighting something with the force upgrade. So a lot of times what I'll do, well, can't say a lot of times, but what I've done with that is that it basically, put it this way, if we would have played key positions and the battle would have been focused around the middle part of this map, that's a great one for him to rush in and hit something right away and be locked in melee with it for just a little longer.
Yeah.
And then if the thing withdraws and the rest of the army shoots at Grievous, then he can still tank those hits and pull them off on all the battle droids that would be around him, and he's got the surge token. And then the next turn, even if he takes a decent amount of suppression, then you've still got the free attack from the 1 pip to make it so Grievous isn't doing nothing if you only get like 1 action, let's say.
Yeah, and then we had that Crush Them card, played actually in a time when it didn't give any surge tokens, but it did give some good activation control.
I wanted to move very, very slow in the first couple turns because I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of fire on him early on. So, obviously it would have worked out using that on like this turn when things were really starting to spiral. But I wanted to try a very slow and steady methodology, which is why I went with a 3-pip and a 3-pip.
That makes sense. We were talking about how those snipers are just not so effective against these droids. He took down, I forget what it was. I think it was like 4 or 5 droids before you really got engaged with him with the snipers. But 4 or 5 6-point droids, that doesn't even pay for 1 sniper team. They're just not. They're not that good. Do you think that the advent of the Trade Federation will diminish the importance of these sniper teams in competitive play?
I think there's a couple things that are going to happen that will kind of in a combination move that. I think you might see players moving just a little farther away from gun lines with Tauntauns being so decent. Then droids coming out and making snipers just a little less useful. And then we're going to get decent tanks out of the Sis and the Gar as well. And that'll kind of help too. And, who knows what other changes might come down the pipe that might change the game. So, like, I think the sniper war has definitely had its heyday, but I think the pieces are in place to kind of maybe start moving it away from that.
All right, yeah, and I have to agree. I think that as we've both seen, the snipers are very on meta prior to the release of the most recent stuff. Maybe the Rebel Vets, Tauntauns, Dewbacks, and stuff changed that somewhat, but these droids are, there really just aren't so many good targets because the droidicas can block sniper shots with their shields. The B1 battle droids don't care very much about suppression, and they cost so little. Grievous is a decent target if you can see him, which you did a good job of avoiding. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's usually the rub with him is the if you can see him thing. There's 2 different ways to play the droid army right now based off. And I found that the only real difference is this and then this, but you take 1 less rocket launcher and you give Grievous endurance.
Yeah, I've been thinking about endurance versus tenacity on Grievous. I do like endurance. I know some people have been talking about Esteemed Leader. I played against a list online earlier and actually lost where someone was using 3 droidicas, and that was a crazy game because I had 2 Tauntauns. I was 0 for 10, I believe, on Tauntaun rallies, and both my Tauntauns ran off the board. My opponent's Grievous also ran off the board. None of us were so good on making rally rolls, but those droidicas, their raw damage output for cost is not necessarily great, but they have great resilience, and that suppressive can really add up.
Yeah,
all right.
And I don't mind losing a ton of droids on the way in if it means that the droidicas and Grievous are pretty much untouched by the time the real wasn't quite able to accomplish that because Fears was able to get Grievous with his max firepower and the other shooting that hit him, but overall Grievous is still alive, the droidicas are still alive, so I did pretty much accomplish the goal there.
Yeah, I was talking about when this white squad was engaging the droidicas over there, I was like, there's almost no point in doing this because he's not going to be able to focus them down. There's just not enough shooting left. With them regenerating a shield every turn, the Droidicas are like one of the units that you most need to focus fire if you're going to want to actually take them down in a timely fashion. And as you said, you know, if you get in there and he's picked off a few normal guys and stuff, but the Droidicas are unhurt, it's going to be hard to take them down unless you can get a lot of focused shooting.
Right. I was kind of mad at myself for how poorly I deployed the Droidicas, but it kind of worked to that advantage because then, yeah, they did eventually have, you know, a basically free reign on the end of the board the last couple turns. So, you know, it worked out in the end, even though it wasn't the most ideal thing. In retrospect, I should have just followed my heart and moved both of the Droidicas along this avenue until I was ready for the critical engagement, but that's okay.
All right. Yeah. I'm going to. I think I'm going to close down the stream soon. Do you have any final thoughts on this game or on the Separatist Alliance in general?
I'm super excited for my droids to get finished painting so I can put them on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this stream. Thanks again to TalkPolite and DrRizzle for letting me stream. Congratulations to TalkPolite for the strong victory here, a strong showing for this early game with the Separatists in the Yavin Base Team League. Thanks to all of you guys for watching, and we'll be back later with more Star Wars Legion content. I might put up some of those Bomber Crew streams later as well. Thanks again, guys, and I will catch you later.